Hi everyone, welcome to Figma 100 Days UI UX Design Challenges, and today is the day 2 and the challenge is to design a sign up process. So this is basically a multi-step process and we will create multiple screens to complete the process. Okay, so let's start. First we need to select frame. So by hitting F key on the keyboard we can select iPhone 16 from the presets. Next we need to quickly rename this. So let's type day 2 and the challenge is to design a sign up process and the screen is get started. Okay, so after renaming the screen, let's click on the layout grid and click on the plus. From the drop down, let's change it to column and let's make it 2. For the color, let's make it 5% transparent, and for both gutter and margin, let's make it 16. Okay, now we need to add status bar and home indicator. So let's click on the assets and search for the status bar. So in library we have the status bar, so let's center line and align it to the top. Next we need to search for the home indicator and we can select, drag it to our artboard and align it to the bottom of the screen. Next we need to turn off grid. Let's turn off background from the status bar and change the color because this is our first screen of the app, so we need to make it color. So let's make it this dark color and let's change the color of our status bar and home indicator to white. Next we need to add some color to our background. So for this we need to press O on the keyboard and let's create 100 by 100 ellipse. Okay, let's change it to this primary blue color from our preset and let's click on the effects and change to layer blur. Okay, and let's make it 300. Also for the size, let's make it 300, both width and height. Align it to the top. Okay, and send it to back. So we need status bar on the top, place it somewhere like this. Okay, this is how we can create our background. So I have already the logo. I will just copy and paste the logo in our artboard and center line. Okay, next we need to create title. Let's select the text tool and type join us and explore. Okay, so we need some big typography. So we have already iOS 18 typography system, so let's select this emphasize large title and center line. Now let's duplicate this. Okay, so I have already the subheading text, so let's copy and paste and we will make it body regular 17. Now select both and convert this to auto layout, and for the spacing let's use 16. Select this text and make it 70% transparent. Okay, so now we need to place a button here bottom of the screen which will be get started, and when user click on it, so user can navigate to the other screen. So for this, in one of my previous videos I have created a dedicated video how to create a button system, and in which I showed my detailed process how we can create this multivariant button. Okay, so I will provide the link in the description below of the video. So I will just copy the instant and let's paste it in our design. And next we need to make it text only. We will change the text to, and next we need to change color. So let's make it created in this file. Okay, so for the color I will select primary color and let's make the width of our grid, center line the text. Okay, now select the text and make it body regular, so we will make it emphasize, and this is how our button look like. Now let's turn up grid and let's click on the effects, and inside the drop shadow let's make it 8, and for the blur let's make it 16, and we will click on the library and we will select our primary color. So let's unlink this and make it 50% or maybe 40% is fine. So this is how our button look like, and now let's align it. So I think 80 or 96 is okay. So this is our first get started screen, and now let's work on the remaining screens. For duplicating of this screen, Figma introduced new feature like when you select the frame and hit F on the keyboard. So as we can see here is a blue circle which is plus, so it's mean we can create another new frame and just duplicate this. Okay, so now let's rename this to step 1. So this is basically step 1, and let's delete the logo, this circle, and select these, and let's change this to dark color. So we have this 700, we will make this 700 for all the text and content. Select background, we will use this 50 light gray color, and let's ungroup this. So by pressing shift command G, so it is now ungrouped, and turn on grid. Let's align the text to the left side, place it here. So we need to change the size of the title. So title 1 emphasize looking good, so let's use it. Let's change the text to create your account. Instead of fixed auto height, let's make it auto width and make it 40. Now it's looking good. Okay, so for the step we need to select ellipse tool and click. So 100 by 100 circle is created, so let's make it 8, and let's change the color to white and simply rename this. Now let's duplicate this, select the second one and make this 16, change the color to blue. Let's rename this to, and now let's duplicate it again and rename this and make it 32 by 32, and let's drop the opacity by 10%. So select all these center line. Okay, and now we need to group this one is active. Now press option command K, convert this to component, and let's create another variant, and this one will be deactive, and let's change this to state. let's make this one is active and change whole frame to steps. So for the deactive, we need to hide this circle, so pressing O 2 times and we will select the blue and make it 300. Okay, so this is the deactive state. Now let's create another variant and this one will be completed. We will do the same thing, hide this circle and this one. Okay, inside the assets, let's search for the check. Now press K on the keyboard and let's lock, make it 12, Command X and paste here. Let's change the color to white. This is our completed state. So simply select the whole frame and let's place it here for now. Okay, and this is our step. So now select this one and let's drag it with the option key. We have created our active state, deactive and completed. Now we need to create our bar. So let's select rectangle, click, make it white, and for the height let's use 4 and 60 for the width. Okay, and let's send it back and rename this to bar, and let's duplicate this. Select all these three elements, check the alignment, let's group it. So this is basically circle, and now we can simply select our text tool, create our text. So this first will be create account. So this is the first step. Let's quickly change the text. I think 11 emphasize looking good. For the color, we will be using the same color palette, and now select both, convert it to auto layout by pressing Shift A on the keyboard, and let's make the distance 16. Okay, so now let's hide this rectangle by pressing O 2 times, will hide. Now let's duplicate this and select, press 0, unhide, and select this one and make it deactive. Let's change the text, so and let's change the text to 300, and now let's duplicate this again, and this one will be, let's hide this, and now select these three, press Shift A. So this is basically create account. Create account is active one. Now convert this to component. Okay, and now let's create another variant, and this one will be personal, or maybe let's make it simple. Let's make it 1, 2 and 3. Okay, for this one let's bring it here, rename this progress indicator, and now let's quickly create the other properties. Now we need to select one instance and drag it to our artboard and center line, make the spacing 40. Now we can simply change this to 1, 2 and 3. So this is how component work, and let's make it to state. Okay, so now it's time to place input in our design. This is basically creating account, so we need input. As we can see, I have already created a detailed video. You can find the link in the description below, where I show in a short video how to create input dynamically. We can change it, like for example focus to default to fill with multiple state, with also leading icon, trailing icon, turn on and off, and also for the label and placeholder text, and also we can show the label on and off. Okay, so this is I have created already in my previous video. I will provide the link in the description below. Okay, so let's make it default, copy input and paste inside our artboard. Let's turn on our grid, and as we can see, let's align it to the grid. Now let's duplicate this, convert this to auto layout by pressing Shift A, and let's make it 24 and duplicate this one more time. We need 3 inputs, so let's turn up our grid. So the first input will be, make this one is already filled out. Okay, user filled this input, and this one will be active, so and this one will be by default. Okay, so let's select the first one and let's change the label to name. So this one is name, and let's make this one is the name of the user, and for this one, this is already showing that it is active state, so let's make this one is email. So first one is name, email, and select this one and change this to password. Now let's change the icon. So for changing the icon, we have option here, so let's select this. Inside here, as we can see, here is icon. The first one is user is fine, so we will leave it. For the second one, let's select and click on it. So here is icon for email, and also we can show the trailing icon. So here we can show and hide the password. Now let's update the text. I'm thinking for this button, let's make this one is large is fine. For the text, let's change this to continue. So this will be continue to the next step. Okay, so I added this small text terms and condition, and also for this checkbox, this is also the multi-variant text checkbox. I select the filled one. Let's create step 2. So for the step 2, select the frame, hit F on the keyboard, and as we can see these blue dot. So let's click on the plus, and here is the step 2. So it's already renamed, and let's change this to personal details. And here we simply need to make it 2. As we can see, the first one is completed, and now we are working on the personal detail. Here is the first thing, user can change profile picture and upload it. So let's select this auto layout frame, click F, and let's create frame. For now, let's use 112, make it fully rounded. Gray colors, we can make it 100, and for stroke, let's make it white. Let's make it 4. Rename this to, now select ellipse, O on the keyboard and create ellipse. Let's make it 40 by 40, or maybe we need to reduce the size. So let's select this and let's uncheck clip content option. Okay, now let's simply place it here and let's try 32 is fine. So let's create 32 by 32 and make it this primary blue. Okay, so I have already the icon, so I will just copy and paste here. Okay, for the user I have already icons. Okay, so now again reselect it, make it frame selection, and this time we need to convert this to auto layout and make it fill container and center line. So now it's fully center. Okay, so here we need date of birth input, so let's make this one is default and let's change the icon to calendar, and for this text let's make, so this is date of birth. Next we need phone number, so we need to also make this one default and let's change the icon to phone, and let's change this one to, this is basically the code, and now select both, convert auto layout again, make it horizontal, and let's make this one to hug content, and also for this let's make it auto width. Now select, and instead of 24 maybe 16 is fine. Select this input, make this one is fill container. Now we need phone icon here, but in this field we will turn off both icons, and let's type, so this is just a placeholder number. This is how we create our date of birth info and phone number. So for the phone number, let's make this one is to fill container for the height, so that both height are the same. And now we don't need this here, so let's delete this. For the spacing, as we can see, let's try 48 here, and let's select these and convert it to auto layout and make it 24. Okay, so now we need here a radio button for the gender selection. So for this I have already the radio button, so let's select and drag one with the option key. Let's cut, we need here, so let's double click and select this. Now let's simply duplicate this and make it the same. So now we will do the same thing for this one, so let's make it fill container, select this one, make it fill container and fill container. Let's make it uncheck, and this one will be checked. So for this text let's try female, and this one will be male. So now we have created checkboxes and also radio button, and here is the continue button for the next screen. Select and hit F, click on plus, and this is step 3. So here we will simply make it 3 confirmation screen. Okay, so for this let's rename this, change the color to blue. This is basically count has been created, and this is the confirmation screen. And also let's delete this, duplicate, center line, make it 20, and emphasize also center line. Let's double click and update the text. So now let's resize this, and I have already confetti design. This is basically generated by plugin, so I will just use it for the design purpose. For the button, let's change this. So this button is now go to dashboard. Change the color of this button in this screen, black dark color. So now it's slightly changed, and here is the confetti. Let's slightly make it smaller. Okay, so I think it's looking good, and let's try 100. Also let's quickly change the last thing is here, select from the library unlink, let's make it 10%, or maybe let's try 20%. It's looking perfect. Okay, so this was the day 2 challenge. We created our sign up process with multi-step indicator, and this was the today challenge. Hope you like the video. Please like the video and also subscribe the channel, and let me know in the comments. See you in the next challenge.